This video is for the women who are being pressured into being married. This video is for the women who are engaged. This video is for the woman who is wanting or aspiring to be a wife one day, and she just really needs to know the real, okay? But for you, if you know in your mind or certain things are going off on your head that make you second guess or question, go with that thought. I don't know the process of divorce because I have not gone that route.
When they say she get it from her mama, I'ma say you got it right. Body with a scum polite. Done me in the humble type. Tell me, is you down? Cause I'm trying to go good tonight. I was in hope she said the right. I just wanna live in a fantasy.
Hey Tati tribe, we got a new name. Y'all got a name. I finally decided on a name, y'all. So welcome back to my channel. Before we get this video started, you guys, make sure you go subscribe, turn on the notifications, and give this video a big thumbs up and smash that like button. And definitely make sure that you don't forget to go turn on the post notifications, which is the little bell right next to the subscribe button, so you can be notified every single time I upload a new video. So I know, y'all, that we already started the vlog, okay, but I just have to keep continuing with my intro. The beginning of the vlog was the girls having their own little turn up. We actually were invited to a birthday party for one of the little girls that's on Kehlani's dance team, and as y'all can see, they had a time, baby, okay? They had a whole time. I don't even know when's the last time I turned up the way that they turned up, but I'm happy that they were able to enjoy themselves. I'm happy that they were able to spend time with other girls, and just be pampered and just have, okay, a whole little turn of time. I love that for them. But as you guys know by the title of this video, I wanted to do some marriage talk. I don't really know how I'm gonna go with this video. I don't know how this video is going to be. I just want to give y'all that warning right now because I mean, y'all see my hand, right? Like, I am a married woman, but as I said in my last vlog, I feel like influencer, well, I won't put the air quotes, but air quotes, you know, no shade at all, but there are women who consider themselves to be influencers, and there are women who consider themselves to just be creators who talk very heavily about marriage. And they focus on specifically posting videos about marriage being highlights and not really sharing things that they have gone through and not sharing how there's any downside of marriage at all. But one thing about me, when I decided that I was going to show up on the internet, okay, and have my own little corner, that I was going to be real about life in general. I pride myself on being transparent. I pride myself on being unapologetic. Sometimes I might talk a little bit too much when it comes to sharing my business, but I just always feel like there's somebody out there who can relate to what it is that I'm saying. There's somebody out there, whether it's about motherhood, marriage, or life in general, who needs to know that A, they are not going through things alone. B, they need a little bit of encouragement to either keep going, or C, they need help with a plan, whatever that might be. So if I could be the person to help somebody get through or take care of or have some type of happiness through their situation, that's what I want to do, okay, in my little corner of the internet. I put very much emphasis on my, because not everybody is comfortable with being transparent, and I feel like that might be one of the reasons why women who are married, who are influencers, who are marriage creators, who are family or lifestyle creators, don't get deep. They don't get deep when it comes to the real stuff. Everything has to be painted as a pretty picture, but marriage is not pretty, okay? So before we get into this video fully, y'all know I gotta hit you with the verse of the day. So the verse of the day is coming to you from Hebrews chapter 4, verse 16, and it says, "Let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need." So when I read that, I just feel like that's saying, like, when we go to talk to God, when we are in need of something, when we need help to get through something, when we need his forgiveness, child, when we need guidance, whatever it is that we need from God, let us approach him with confidence, knowing that he is God, that he is the ruler of our life, that no matter what situation that we're in, and I always say this, easier said than done, because I be talking to myself too. Sometimes we just be going through things, or sometimes life is life, and if we just be like, God, like, what is going on? Like, why are we going through these situations? But he wants us not only to come to him, but he wants us to come to him with confidence, knowing that he is an all-knowing God. He knew what we would face before we got ourselves into the situation, or before the situation found us, right? Like, he just knows everything about us. He knew what life was going to be before we knew what life was going to be. So when we approach him, we just have to approach him like that. Like, yes, I'm going through a situation, God, but I need you, and I need you with confidence, knowing that you hear me, that you already know where I'm at in life, and that you're going to get me through this thing, whatever it might be, okay? So God's amazing. Get some Jesus in your life. But I did say before I started reading the verse of the day that marriage is not pretty. And I want to go back on that statement just a little bit. Marriage can be pretty, but marriage is also messy, okay? Marriage is hard. Marriage is not easy at all. And I just feel like not everybody's story and everybody's situation is the same, but if you have never gone through anything in your marriage, something is up. Somebody is not willing to have certain conversations or doesn't want to do certain things. Like, there is no such thing as a perfect person. Therefore, there's no such thing as a perfect marriage. Not every marriage goes through the same thing. Not every wife feels the same way. Not every husband feels the same way. But marriage is not perfect. Marriage is messy. Like, marriage can get real. And if you're watching this video right now and you are one of those wives who is looking for the information on how to stick it out and how to stay there, this is not that video. Like, I'm gonna be 1000% real. This is not that video. This video is for the women who are being pressured into being married, whether they've been with a man for a certain amount of time, whether they have had kids by this man, and everybody is asking,
when are you gonna get married? Y'all had a baby, y'all live together, when are you guys gonna da-da-da-da-da?
This video is for the women who are engaged and they might be seeing certain signs right now and they might be questioning, do I need to go through with this? Like, this video is for the woman who is wanting or aspiring to be a wife one day, and she just really needs to know the real, okay? This is what I am here for. This is that type of video. If you are looking for encouragement to stay in your marriage, I will say that once again, this is not that, okay? This is not that type of video. And I think that I'm gonna start this video by giving just my background, okay? Because I feel like this is important. And again, if ever I'm sharing a story, it is to either encourage, inspire, or be relatable. So I've been with my husband, and I'm gonna really try to watch my words because I'm still married. Like, I'm still married, but I feel like right now, for the last, really for, I would say for years, but heavily for the past couple of months, I've just been feeling like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't know if this is something that I want to continue, because I feel like peace is more important than anything. And if it just seems as if there is no resolve in the situation, what is the point? Like, that's just how I feel. If you feel like you have exhausted every single option there is out there, what is the point? Like, I'm just keeping it 1000, okay? So me and Matt have actually been together since I was 17. He was 18. I'm 30. Do the math. That's a really long time. And I think where we went wrong, just me being transparent, is we never got to know each other. We never dated as far as really getting to know each other's backgrounds and upbringings and, you know, things about each other's childhoods and learning what each other values. Granted, we were 17 and he was 18, so it's just like, what type of questions can you really answer? But we weren't willing to take anything slow. We jumped very quickly into a fast relationship. And it was just like, okay, I didn't have boyfriends in high school. I might have had, you know, 1 or 2 like relationships, but nothing serious. He didn't have girlfriends. Like, he wasn't the type of guy that messed around with a bunch of girls, and that was something that really attracted me to him. So I feel like because we both just knew that much about each other, that we were like, okay, we found our person. Let's just, I mean, we don't really need to waste no time. And I wish that I would have listened to my mom when she told me there is going to come a point in time where y'all are going to get sick of each other. Because not only were we spending every single day together when he eventually ended up coming home from the college he was going to, that was like 30 minutes from the city that we lived in, we had the same college classes, we worked at the same job. We then moved in together. This is all before kids. This is all before marriage. We were doing all of these things and still not actively taking the steps that we needed to take to really get to know each other, to become best friends. Even though we were spending so much time together, I just feel like we did not take that time to set the foundation before marriage. So if you find yourself in a relationship right now and you are one of the women who aspire to be married to this man, I highly suggest that you kind of analyze your relationship and where you are right now. Am I getting to really know him? What are his values like? How are they in alignment with my values? Like really study your relationship and really study and get to know that person, because once you are in a situation to where now you have kids together, and him and I, remind you, we were in a relationship for 6 years, but before we had our child, but we were living together for a few years prior to that. So things started coming out for me that I was just like, okay, like flags are going off as far as I'm different in this area, you're different in that area. They say that you really don't know a person until you live together, and that is like a very true statement, because although we were spending all of our time together, like you was going to your place at the end of the night, I was going to my place at the end of the night sometimes. Like I would even spend the night at his house sometimes. Like that's how glued to the hip we were. Like we were not, like I said, we felt like we found our people, so it is what it was. And I just wish that we did not do that. So again, back to being the relatable person to try and find some type of value to give to the woman who is in a relationship, who is heavily spending all of her time with this man. Separate yourself from him. Y'all don't have to spend all y'all time together. But when you do spend time together, it's just very important to like analyze each other and just figure out that person, figure out your person. Because once you move in together, you start to notice things about the person that you thought was your person that might trigger you, because maybe y'all's values are different, or maybe your characters are different, or maybe your personality is different. Like things just get real when you move in. So we decided to have a baby, and now I'm speaking to the woman who has a child with this man. One of the things that I very much regret, besides moving in with him when we were not married, is having a child when I saw certain things in him that did not align with me. Now, I'm not saying that he's not a good dad, because he is, okay? Like don't get it twisted. But when it comes to the things that I value and the things that he values, we're just not the same. And when you are not on the same page with somebody, they might do things that frustrate you because it's not the way that you would do them. But that all goes back to getting to know a person, right? And if you're heavily studying somebody, you would notice certain things that would make you say, not bringing a little one into this world with you, because I don't agree with how you do that, or I don't agree with how you say that, or I don't agree with this character trait that you have, or that personality trait that you have. So if you do have kids, don't think that just because you have a child that you have to marry this person. I'm not 1,000% on the Bible as far as being able to quote certain scriptures and tell you where certain stuff came from and tell you what the exact words are in the Bible. But I just know somewhere in the Bible it says something about not having kids if you're not married, right? But if you do happen to do that, don't think that you have to marry this person just because you had a child. And for me, I felt like because we had been together for 6 years and then we had a kid, there was no way that I wasn't going to get married to this man. And I just wish that I had the mindset then that I do now to know that a kid does not mean marriage. Babies don't mean that you have to say I do. But mentally, I just felt like there was no way that I could bring a baby into this world and not get married to this man. Like, regardless of what it is that I knew, regardless of what it is that I didn't like, regardless of how different we were, regardless of what quote unquote red flags were going off in my head, regardless of how different we were, like, I don't want for y'all to listen to what I'm saying and think that I'm like bashing this man. I just really want to bring it to the forefront that if you know certain things and certain things are uncomfortable for you, not everything is uncomfortable for everybody. Not everything is unbearable for everybody. Not everything that makes one person feel a type of way will make the other one feel a type of way. But for you, if you know in your mind or certain things are going off on your head that make you second guess or question, go with that thought, okay? Because just because you have kids doesn't mean, and I keep saying this because somebody needs to know this. Listen a little bit closer if I'm talking to you. Just because you have a baby doesn't mean you have to marry this person. Because then when you get married, it is so much harder to walk away. Some people will say different. Some women will say different. Some women will say, I don't care if I got married to you yesterday. If I don't like something today, yesterday doesn't matter. I will go straight down to the courthouse and I will sign the papers and it will be done. But it's also not that easy. Like, I don't know the process of divorce because I have not gone that route. I don't know the process, but from what I've heard, it's not easy just to go to the courthouse and sign some papers. Like, it is a whole process. Whereas when you decide you're going to get married and you go down there to get the marriage certificate, all you got to do is sign something, sign your name on a dotted line and you get your marriage certificate. It's not that easy, baby, to get a divorce, okay? So don't let a baby be the reason why you decide to say, I'm going to marry this man. Now I'm speaking to the wife, okay, who is married right now. And you're thinking, maybe you don't want to do this anymore. Maybe you feel like you've been married and you have tried everything that you can on your own to make things better and it's not working. I've been there where I thought I was doing everything in my power to change my situation. But the first thing that came to mind was, you've never been to marriage counseling. Marriage counseling while you're married and premarital counseling are two different things. Going back to the woman who is thinking that one day she might want to be married to the person that she is in a relationship right now, that is something that me and Matt did. Before we had kids, before we got married, we were sitting in front of a premarital counselor, kind of going over different things that, for me, I was like, why am I not married yet? Okay, it's been 5 years into this relationship. Why am I not married? For him, I think I can't speak for him, so I won't even do that. But that's why I went to premarital counseling. Like, what is going on? Like, am I wanting marriage more than he wants it? Am I glorifying marriage? Because I'm gonna be honest, like, I was thinking about the surface level stuff, the dress, and we've been together for this long, and I've spent a certain amount of time in my relationship with this man. Like, we're supposed to be married. Like, I was thinking about all the surface level things. So I wanted to go speak to a premarital counselor to kind of qualify if we're on the track to get married or if we need to just jump off this train right now, okay? Because at this point, we've been living together. We spend every day together. We even share bank accounts at this point. Y'all, wasn't even married. Wasn't even married. And we were still sharing a bank account because we was living together. Like, we was paying everything together. We're living together. Like, it is what it is. So we were moving in the direction that had me feeling like, why are we not married yet? Like, what is really going on? Because we do everything else. Why are we not married yet? So I advise you, if you are thinking that you want to be married to this person, to this man, go to premarital counseling and kind of sit down, whether you have problems, whether everything seems great, go to premarital counseling, somebody who can kind of help you figure out, like I said, if you're on the right track to getting married. Maybe y'all might need to take a step back from even being in a relationship, maybe take a step back from even thinking about the idea of marriage. Go to somebody who can kind of help you navigate and figure that part out. But being married, and I started feeling like after, a couple of years of being married, I don't think I want to do this anymore. By this point, we had a child, okay? And I was actually pregnant with another one. I was thinking about that. And I had to tell myself, no, you did not go to premarital counseling. You did not go to counseling as a married woman. Yes, there were things that were going off in your head character-wise with this man. Yes, you guys are different personality-wise, but you have not gone to somebody who can help you maybe look at yourself to see what you might be doing wrong, as not as a wife, but as a woman, as a person, okay? How your mindset might be, how you perceive things, why certain things make you feel a certain way. Counseling is not bad. So for the wife who is right now on the track of feeling like she wants to just throw it all away, no matter how many years it has been, think about that. Have you gone to counseling? Okay? Because things will come out in counseling about yourself that will have you kind of looking at yourself like, maybe I could have said that in a different way. Maybe I wasn't ready to get married because there are still some things in myself that I can work on. Maybe there were some things in my childhood that I did not heal from that I have brought into my adult life that has now come into my marriage. Maybe I was in a prior relationship and I don't know how to navigate certain things because I'm still holding on from things in my prior relationship. There's so many things that will come out that will help for you to be able to either have a better marriage or to be able to look at yourself, okay? But maybe you have went to therapy. Maybe you have continued to pray about your marriage. Maybe you have talked to your spouse until you're blue in the face. Maybe you have done all of those things and it still doesn't feel like it's working. I told y'all in the beginning of this video, this is not the video to tell you to stay in your marriage. Again, I have to choose my words wisely because I am still married, and take it for what it's worth. God wants for us to be happy. Do with that whatever you want to do with it. God wants for everybody to be happy. I'm not telling the woman who is married to leave her marriage. And I am not telling the woman who is aspiring to be married to not ever get married. I am not telling the woman who is engaged to call your marriage off. I am simply saying think past surface level, because marriage is not all about the dress, okay? Because you could be walking down the aisle in the prettiest dress ever. You could be walking down the aisle to your favorite song playing and still know that you're walking into the arms of a man that you should not be married to. Regardless of how marriage is glorified, because women will tell you, whether they have been married for 15 years or 50 years, that you have to go through things and that you have to go through hard times. No, you don't. And I also think define what hard is, because everybody's definition is different. You have to define how much you're actually willing to take. Just because your husband is not cheating on you does not mean that mentally you're not in a point of distress. Just because your husband is not cussing you out doesn't mean that he is not good at making you feel secure. Just because your husband comes home every night doesn't mean that you are happy sleeping next to this man. Marriage is not something that you have to do. And I just think that whether you are in a marriage right now, or you are engaged, or you are aspiring to be married, you have to look at you as a person and your mental state. And I just think that if you're not in a space to where you are willing to ride until the wheels fall off, and that means your wheels are falling off, that means you're falling apart, that means you're not whole. If you're not willing to have that be your life, because there's a very big possibility that that could be your reality. Now, there are some marriages who don't deal with the wheels falling off. Like, there are some marriage where the man feels whole and the woman feels whole. I don't want to focus on the man because I'm not talking to men. I'm talking to women specifically who are either told that you have to get married because of X, Y, and Z, or who aspire to be married, or who are in a marriage and they're being told that they have to stay married because they're married. Those are the women that I'm speaking to. So no shade to the men if you're watching this video, but I'm not talking to y'all. I'm talking specifically to women because heavy on the woman, I am a woman. I'm also married, and I just feel like I'm in a space right now in my marriage. I have been for a minute, but I'm in a space to where I kind of just want to focus on being a mom, because I can't say confidently that the things that I am going through is something that I want to go through continuously. Like, women will tell you, you're gonna have hard times, but again, you have to define what hard means to you, and you have to define what you're willing to stick through no matter how long it takes to get through it, and what you're not willing to put up with anymore. Because one thing about it, being a mom, your kids come first. And there's no way that you can pour it into your kids or anybody around you for that matter if you're not whole yourself. You cannot fill somebody else's cup if your cup is not full. If you're not being taken care of emotionally and your emotions are not intact, there's no way that you can be emotionally available for somebody else. And because we're talking about marriage, if your emotions are not being filled up, if they're not being taken care of, if they're not being met, you have to deal with the reality that being married sometimes comes with that. It sometimes comes with the fact that your emotional needs will not always be met. You have to come to terms with the fact that you might be married to somebody who does not communicate. And I'm not talking about my marriage. I'm talking specifically about marriage in general. For, again, who am I talking to? The woman who aspires to be married, the woman who is engaged thinking if she should go through it, the woman who has a baby and she's being pressured by everybody around her to get married, or the woman who is married and everybody's telling her she needs to stay because she got married. No. For this woman right here, what was this woman? That she has to stay married because she's already married. I think praying is something that is really important, and asking God to show you what to do, because sometimes we see things in people, but we don't want to go with what we see. We want to go with what we want, right? And going back to my dating stages, so now I'm talking to the woman who is in a relationship with a man, going back to the point where we were just boyfriend and girlfriend, I am not saying that we should have not been together, but I am saying that I should have went with what I saw and prayed to God to lead me, instead of going with what I wanted, which was the baby, which was the ring, which was being, and living in the same house even after leaving one, moving out of one to move into the next. I feel like I should have just prayed about everything. So that is my tidbit to the woman who is in a relationship with a man right now. Go with what it is that you see and ask God to lead you based off of what you see. Because sometimes you can just go with what you want and you hurt yourself in that process. Nobody has to be married. Nobody has to be married. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there's a lot of emotions that are tied up in being married. Forget all the surface level. One day I'm going to come back and do a story time on my whole entire wedding process. So I'm trying not to talk about certain things. I'm just trying to keep it very strict on marriage, like actually being married or deciding that you, or being engaged, because if you want to get married, that is marriage. If you are married, that is marriage. If you're engaged, you're eventually going to get to the point to where you're married. So I just want to focus on that topic in general. But there's a lot of emotions that come with being married, and it almost just seems like the advice that's being put out there by women who have been married for really, really, really long times. It's like they tell you you have to choose your hard. But that's not the advice that I want to give. The advice that I want to give is you have to choose yourself. Because, again, emotionally, if you're not your best self, you cannot be anything to anybody if you're not your best self. You cannot fill up anybody if you're not being filled up. If it feels like there is more bad than good, you definitely want to pray that God shows you what to do. And this is after you've exhausted your options of going to marriage therapy. But before even getting married, if you're aspiring or if you are engaged and it still feels like there's more bad than good, you have an option. You don't have to get married to that man because y'all have kids, because y'all have been together for so long, because society says that being a wife is just the best thing out there. Because baby, if you're not down for every single ride that marriage will take you on, and again, some rides are bumpier than others. Some rides, you're gonna feel like you've fallen out of the car. Some rides, you're gonna feel like your seatbelt is on and your head is scraping the asphalt as the car drives. I'm trying to be all the way real. If there is more bad than good because that's how it feels, baby, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. This is me talking directly to my aspiring to be's and my wife to be's, because you're engaged. But once you're married, nobody said you have to stay either. And I'm gonna leave y'all with that, because some things I feel like were repetitive in this video. Other things I feel like I might have went too hard on the topic. And also because y'all, I'm still married and I'm still in a space where I'm really trying to figure it out. And I say I'm trying to figure it out because we have not been to therapy in years. The last time we went to therapy was when I was pregnant. And giving that situation the benefit of the doubt, although some things came out during that session that had me thinking like, oh, we didn't even have to do this in the first place, I also was pregnant and I was 8-9 months at the time. So my emotions could have been very high. So I'm not saying that I'm giving up, but I definitely am saying that I am in a space where my mindset is different than it was even 4 years ago. I'm in a space where I feel like I'm just trying to be peaceful. I'm in a space where I recognize that my kids need me to be a full mother, and there is no way that I could be a full mother emotionally to them if I'm not even full emotionally to myself. And so, yeah, I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Especially the wife who is married. Baby, I want for you to hear me and hear me well. Your emotions matter more than anybody else's. Choosing you is not selfish, because before you can choose anybody else, you have to be whole. Okay? Whatever that may mean for you. I am not here to tell any wife to leave her marriage. I am just here to be very real, raw, and relatable. That marriage is not easy. Marriage is more than kissing videos on Instagram. Marriage is more than walking down the street holding hands toward the camera. Marriage is more than date nights. Marriage is more than matching pajamas. Marriage is more than family pictures during the holidays or during birthdays or during anniversaries. Marriage is more than long captions. Marriage sometimes looks like long nights crying because you cannot figure out why y'all are in such a hard space. Marriage is sometimes trying to figure out if God really told you to marry that man, or if you married that man because that's just what you wanted to do. Let's just keep it all the way honest and all the way 100, okay? Not everybody's marriage is the same. Not everybody feels the same. Some people are fortunate to really find their person who is really willing to 1000% do the work together, really 1000% work on themselves, so that when they are together, they're the best they can be, because separately they are working on themselves and they are working on their mental. And then you have the marriages where it feels like one person is working on themselves and the other one does not have the mindset to truthfully work on what's needed to be worked on, so that when they come together, they can be their best selves, because separately, they're their best selves. So when they're together, they're even more powerful. I'm just keeping it 100. Do with that information what y'all want to, but if you did not hear me say anything else in this entire video, nobody has to be married, because marriage is more than the surface level pictures, captions, and sweetness. There is a lot of other things that come into play besides those 3 things that I just mentioned to y'all. So I don't know whose lap this video is going to land in. I hope that it wasn't too all over the place. I hope that it was as real, as raw, and as relatable as it can be. And if anybody wants to talk outside of this video, definitely feel free to send me a DM on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, my link will be in the description below for you to go follow me. And I would love to have like some truthful conversations for anybody who really wants to have it. I'm not a marriage therapist. I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm just a wife who is really in the position right now of honoring herself. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope y'all enjoyed. Stay tuned for my wedding story time, because I think I'm gonna go ahead and post that following this video next Friday. If you haven't done this yet, make sure you go subscribe, turn on the notifications, and give this video a big thumbs up and smash that like button. And I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.